Hey everyone, I'm Dorian. I'm the new area manager here at JCI Europe, and today I want to talk about some of the stuff we've been working on over the past couple of weeks and some of the cool stuff coming up that's going to be great in terms of content for all the JCI members out there. First up, the European KnowHow transfer. The KnowHow transfer was online for the first time and took place a couple of weeks ago with 5 great virtual live stream sessions with panel discussions on EU in times of crisis and response and the solidarity. If you missed it out, you're in luck. All of the sessions that were live streamed are still recorded on our Facebook page, and I kind of want to take the opportunity today to run through the highlights of each of the sessions so that everybody watching this right now knows kind of where to look for their preferred content. We kicked off our first live stream with a panel discussion on EU responses to youth unemployment in a COVID-19 job market. Our panelists were our very own EDC chair Natasha Jov, our VP Anna Nikolova, and the board member of the European Youth Forum Frédéric Picavet. If you are a young person in Europe at the moment and you're interested about kind of how the youth unemployment dynamic has evolved, then this is the session for you.
How do we support young people?
Young people's lives are scarred. We know that in July 2020, so that's 2 months ago, the youth unemployment rate was up to 17%. And that is clearly showing how the pandemic is having an impact on young people in the labor markets.
One point is here, it's like to involve young people in all these processes. It should be done in a way that we are not only to talk how we are going to support the youth, either for employment or skills development or whatever support they need, but actually doing it.
The second live stream was hosted by VP Jenny Alstedt and was on democracy in quarantine. MEP Karen Melchior and newly elected Bucharest City Council member Diana Madorovici joined her to talk about a lot of topics, including, most importantly, I think, the tendency of democratic backsliding in the European Union and what we as citizens can do to come together to tackle this.
What do you think has been the biggest threat for democracy?
What I have found most challenging to democracy here were fake news.
It's really important also at a European level to be able to explain to our populations and our businesses why we do as we do.
I think all of us have had either personal or indirect people that have been deeply affected, and that we should never discount because there have been huge human sacrifices.
We need each other, whether it's big forest fires or a pandemic. When there really is a crisis, we need to be to show solidarity with each other and solve these problems together.
Stream 3 was a deep dive on inclusion and integration in times of crisis, and I think really reminded all of us about how even during a pandemic, there are some segments of society, some minorities that are way worse affected than we are. Join JCI Equality and Diversity Chairperson Svava Arnardottir, MEP Anna Julia Donat, and JCI Europe EVP Marion de Groot in their discussion on how inclusive the European Parliament really is and what challenges still lie ahead of us in our quest towards true integration.
When in times of crisis, those that are marginalized are the most likely to feel the effects more.
I have a really simple one-sentence answer: the lack of real political will. I think it's that easy. But if you look around about color, disabilities, or even ethnic minorities, the European Parliament failed this time again. I mean, European election in general. But why? Because the parties running on this election didn't put such people at the top of their list. And we have to make these critics why.
In general, what we want to work on is to make JCI Europe, what we're doing in Europe, as safe, inclusive and welcoming to as many people as possible.
The fourth session was set to be on coping with crisis. Setting aside how incredibly fun it was to watch that session, it's worth tuning in just to hear Mark's honest discussion with MEP Maria Walsh and EDC Councillor Hans-Peter Visser on how the pandemic has affected all of our mental health and how to find hope in challenging times.
You know, from a JCI point of view, we're all about developing leaders for a changing world, encouraging people to take part and empower them to take part, to be active citizens. But actually, if you're in a dark place and feeling anxious or depressed, or you know, you've got that imposter syndrome going on where you don't think you're good enough, how on earth are you going to feel like getting up in the morning or taking part in training or running your own business or networking, etc. So I think, you know, that health and well-being stuff, and especially around mental health, is absolutely critical. And I think there's still lots of stigma about it. So the more we talk about it, the more we kind of break that down, because sometimes it's really hard to admit to yourself when there's a problem, let alone, you know, reach out for help and support.
From a young people's perspective of hope, you know, there has been so many wonderful stories or entrepreneurial pitches made since COVID. I mean, I know in Ireland, our universities and our Ts are working together with various organizations and universities across the world at a vaccine. And I know the chase is on and who's going to be the first to have a fix, but that would have never happened pre-COVID. It would have never happened.
The final session included KnowHow transfer project manager Dan Bobocianu, as well as EDC councillor Jana Havlichkova and former Romanian president turned MEP Traian Băsescu, as well as a lot of Saturday afternoon vibes. The session focused on effective crisis management leadership and a discussion on whether their respective countries and the EU as a whole lived up to the expectations.
The Romanian constitution allows us to be presidents by 2 times only, but was more than enough.
Totally understand.
I don't know if you have heard this word, but it's called blamestorming. You know, you brainstorm who to blame. And we had this, like, that's not our fault. You saw it also with, you know, other nations.
In these days, we are in a competition to survive. A competition to survive until the vaccine will be on the market.
If you want to check out any of these amazing sessions, or just do what I do and zone out to this elevator music, head on over to facebook.com/JCI Europe/live, where you can find a collection of all of our previous live streams. Lastly, it wouldn't be fair to look back at the KnowHow transfer without telling you about all the amazing content we've got coming up. Of course, I'm talking primarily about World Congress. Trust me when I say that the COC team over in Yokohama and everybody over at the World Headquarters for JCI have been working tirelessly to bring what I think is an incredible set of content for the next 2 weeks. Not just the official business, but all the extra sessions and training sessions and keynote sessions. They all look to be amazing. I've seen what's going on behind the scenes and I'm baffled at what they've put together. So I encourage anybody that wants to join and anybody that's kind of interested on the fence about joining to head on over and sign up for the core program, or if you've got some extra pennies lying around, I really encourage you to sign up to the JCI Rise VIP program, because there's so much amazing stuff coming. You won't believe how much stuff you'll be able to watch live, and then afterwards all the sessions will be recorded and you'll be able to watch them as well. Trust me, it's worth every penny you put into it. That's it from my end. Thanks for tuning into the session, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye. If you stuck around this long, I've got a treat for you. This is something I didn't announce at the beginning of the video, so most people won't be able to see this. But for everyone that stuck around this long, I've edited together what I call VP Mark's Zumba Adventure, which is the entire Zumba-related content we had in day 4 of the KnowHow transfer. I think it was hilarious to watch. I encourage you to watch it in the actual stream, but for everybody that doesn't have the time, here it is in all its glory.
I know this will come as a shock to everyone, but I'm not the most physically active person in usual times. So yeah, I can see the shock. So actually, one of my friends got me into doing a few online Zumba classes, which was great because if you position the camera just so, you know, they can just see the top half and don't necessarily see any of the wobbly bits that are going on underneath.
Sandra, I hope your question is what the Zumba classes were like for Mark, because I wanted to ask that question.
No, sorry.
What we're seeing, Sandra, great question. Thanks very much for asking. Disappointed you didn't ask about the Zumba songs, but we'll ask that later on. But from
and staying positive is key. So then coming back on your Zumba classes again, Mark. What was the story there exactly?
Try it. Honestly, it's good fun. An hour or so. You know, strategically place the Zoom camera so you're just up here, so it doesn't matter what you look like, and go for it. A lot of it was quite Latino dancing, I think. So yeah, go for it.
And then finally, Hans, I feel like I'm missing out this Friday night if Mark doesn't just display some sort of Zumba like dance skills within this webinar. I'm just suggesting. I'm kidding, Mark. I'm only kidding.